Hey everyone! It's been such a long time since I've actually tried to do this, just because I am so terrible at sticking to anything. If you want to hear this is Brownie, my dog. He's just sitting on my lap because I don't want him running around. So I'm going to talk about something that's extremely important to me, that affects my life, that has affected my family's life, that has affected my friend's life. Is something that's very serious, and is something that's going to be a little bit personal. And it is hard for me to even talk about it still. So just starting off, the main thing I wanted to point out is 1 year ago today, I was probably at my lowest point that I had ever been in my entire life. And I've been at some low points. But last year, this same day, I woke up, got ready for work, went to work, actually opened, same exact way as today. But the biggest difference is that I woke up so tired, so drained, so beaten down that I knew I didn't want to wake up the next day. That's nothing new. I felt like that for years. I felt that was between my adult life. I felt like that in my teenage years. I felt that as a child. So that's nothing new. The main difference is that all those other times, I had a little bit of hope. I had a little bit of faith. I had that motivation, that fire in my stomach to keep going. This time, I didn't. And the main reason is because all around the same time, between like October, the beginning of November, mainly October, things just started piling up. And they weren't even really huge things or really even important things. They were just things that there's so much that have compiled over the last couple years or over my entire life that I never faced, that I never ever resolved, that I never acknowledged. So all that stuff just kept piling up and piling up and piling up. And then finally, the smallest things, when they occurred, when they happened, they made me collapse. They were the last straw. And I was just so drained. I was just so tired. I didn't want to keep fighting. I just didn't want to keep moving or trying to move forward when I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I felt like I was nothing. I saw myself as nothing. I felt like everyone else that I ever cared about felt like I saw that I was nothing. And the main thing that really broke me down the most in regards to how other people saw me is that the same exact thing, that same story that's happened to me repeatedly, is that I found someone in that time period in October that I cared about, or thought I cared about, and thought that they cared about me, and they didn't. So that was the one thing that crushed me. And the same thing, it wasn't even anything really all that significant. It's just because since this stuff has happened to me multiple times, and that there was other things in my life that I didn't want to face, that I couldn't face, my brain fixated on just that one event in my life, and that's the thing that finally sent me crumbling down, that finally destroyed me. So I got to the point where I was just like, I don't want to continue. I felt like nothing. I felt useless. I felt like, what difference would it make even if I'm here or not? I felt like I don't want to keep fighting. I don't want to keep fighting to have to keep going through the same cycle. And I was like, what am I even here for? What am I fighting for? Just to keep going through the same exact thing, just to keep feeling alone. I've been alone ever since I was a child, in the teenage years. I felt the same way as an adult. So I was like, what am I here for? What am I even doing? That was how I felt. because I felt like that, because I felt so horrible. Even though I felt like that, there was still that tiny, tiny part of me that wanted to keep going, that wanted to keep fighting. That it, that little voice in me that said, just don't give up yet. So I put myself in the hospital. And I know that's that's a big stigma for a lot of people. Instantly, if you ever try to talk about this with someone, or you ever mention when you put yourself in the hospital due to that, they instantly think that, you're crazy, there's all this stuff wrong with you. And yes, I do have an issue with mental illness that runs in my family. I don't consider it a secret. I'm honestly open about it. Now I am. Because why hide it? Why keep it a secret? Nowadays, especially the way I am now, within the last year, I've grown and I've changed so much that I finally have just accepted the fact that this is something that I have to deal with. This is something that I've had since I was a kid. And all the other times, I think the main problem is that I wanted a quick fix. I wanted it just to go away like that. And it's not going to happen like that. It's just something that I unfortunately have to deal with. It's something that I have dealt with. And a big part of it is, yeah, there's outside circumstances that caused this. There is the mental illness part, but it was also me having to also be honest with things that I do in my daily life that causes me to also be unhappy, that also has caused me to not have the life that I want. Because also, when you're the kind of person who has mental illness and you're very unhappy with yourself, you're self-destructive. That's how it is. There's so many things that I've done in my life to make my life harder than it had to be. There's so many times when I've messed up relationships before they even started because I was afraid of them going bad. Honestly, that's exactly what happened within October. Being completely honest, I was so scared of it going wrong that I deliberately sabotaged it before it could even become anything, before it could even continue. I sabotaged it myself because I was already scared. So I had to be honest with myself. And that took me a long time. That took me, if there was no quick fix, though it was not overnight. And to be completely honest, within this whole last year, I still have problems with it. I still, to this day, have issues with it. I don't feel the same exact way. I don't feel the way that I did a year ago. I don't feel like I'm useless. I don't feel like I'm worthless. I don't want to end my life anymore. There's still those thoughts, though, in my brain where if anyone who's ever dealt with this and they go through that process of recovery, you know that there are times when you're completely okay and all of a sudden your brain just, a little thought pops into your head that, oh, you should kill yourself. That happens to me all the time. That happens to me honestly on a daily basis. It is literally like I have an internet troll with me 24/7 with my brain. That's how it is with me that's how it is when you have depression, when you have mental illness. And the main reason why I wanted to discuss this is for myself, but also I want to let anyone else know that if you deal with this, or you are dealing with this, or you ever have dealing with this, it can get better. It can. I have literally probably gone through so many problems with depression, anxiety, OCD, eating disorders, suicidal thoughts, self-harm. I've gone through all of that repeatedly. And it's always been a cycle with me all the time. Brownie, stop. It's always been a cycle. Sometimes I'll be better, sometimes I'll be okay, and then I just fall apart. And I just want anyone out there to know that it is okay. Like I said, it's okay to not be okay. And I also want this to be more, people to be more open, to be honest about this stuff. Because also, one reason why I'm doing this, stop, Ronnie, he's getting all fidgety now, is because I don't want to just bury it. That's how I got as bad as I did, because I buried emotions, I buried painful stuff. And even now I have a problem with it, because my brain doesn't want to acknowledge certain painful things that happen in my life, because it's hard. It's really hard to be honest with yourself about past either things that you have done or things that have happened to you. And so a lot of times my brain fixates on like one thing, one problem, and it assesses over that rather than working out the other problems. So on the anniversary of what happened last year, I wanted to acknowledge what happened. I wanted to tell what had happened to me. And I wanted to let other people know that it's okay if this happens. It's okay if you are dealing with depression. It's okay if you have anxiety, OCD, any of that stuff. It's not like it's a good thing, but I want people to be able to be honest about it, because burying it and lying to yourself and acting like it's okay rather than facing it is just going to make it worse over time. Because that's what happened with me, and it made it to the point where I literally came crumbling down on myself. And I know what it's like to feel that way and not have anyone to go to. I know what it's like to try to go to people. I know what it's like to try to explain to people and they just don't get it. Or even like sometimes it's hard to explain how you're feeling when you don't even understand how you're feeling yourself, which is exactly how I was. Since I never really learned how to deal with loss or rejection or anything like that, or any of these hard emotions, I just buried it. I didn't even know what I was feeling. So how do I explain to someone how I'm feeling when I don't even know how to explain it to it myself? Stop, dog. Nowadays, honestly, as I said, I still have the problems, but I'm honestly generally happy. I love waking up in the morning. I love looking forward to my day. I love looking forward to my future. I love thinking of the different possibilities of what I can do. I love thinking about, I can work on music, I can work on modeling, I can do this, I can do work on YouTube, even though I'm probably not that great on it. Honestly, I think I suck at it right now, but I can do that. I can work on learning Spanish, I can work on keyboards, there's so much stuff that I want to do, and I look forward to it, and I'm excited about it, and I'm happy. I'm generally, honestly, for one of the first times in my life, since I don't even know when, I'm happy. And it's because I faced the worst side of me. I faced the mental illness, and I stopped lying about it, and I stopped burying it. So if there's anyone out there who's dealing with this, just know that even if you don't talk to me, even if we've never actually met, or we've just talked once in a while, even if we ended on bad terms, you can come to me. As I said, I've been through it all. I've been through so many problems. I've messed up so many times. I have destroyed myself over and over and over again. And so I just want to say that you can come to me with anything ever. I'm going to end this because this dog is getting all fidgety.